What's going on, guys? It's 20 minutes after 3, and I have left work. I am on my way to somewhere in the middle of nowhere to pick up my girlfriend, and then take her somewhere else in the middle of nowhere. And eventually, I'll get home and I'll play with my kid and I'll eat some food, and that'll be that. Okay day today. And for those of you who watched this morning's episode, you know that my day started off with a not very pleasant call with my boss. But it did improve from there. I went out and did this service call, which went well, and made the customer happy. Got my hands dirty a little bit. That was cool. And for some reason... Actually, before I get to today's lesson, I want to share something actually really exciting with you. Something that happened. I'm like super stoked about this. And it may not seem like a big deal to many people out there, but for me, it's a huge deal. So, I got this podcast going on. I record it every weekend and post it, so it's ready for everybody on Monday. And ever since the beginning, I've been asking for questions to answer on the episode. And, we're going into our 5th week, I think. And I finally got a question. Somebody officially respected my opinion and my experience with company culture enough to ask me a question for me to answer on my podcast. And I am super stoked, and I'm just giddy with excitement, and so I don't have to come up with anything off the top of my head for my podcast. I have a question to think about and answer, and that's going to be awesome. So for any of you guys who are already listening to my podcast, I invite you to come and check that out. For any of you who are not listening to my podcast, I think that you should. It's got a lot of really good information in there, and it doesn't matter if you're a business owner or manager or supervisor, or even an associate with no management or supervisory responsibilities. I think anybody who is working can really benefit from the stuff that I talk about in my podcast. So I'm excited about this weekend. I wish it was Friday. So anyway, today's lesson did not come to me because of anything that happened, because nothing really happened today except an unpleasant conversation with my boss, which is whatever. There wasn't anything too deep and meaningful about that one, but something popped into my head as I was out in the field and replacing some outlets, and I was kind of struggling to come up with a name for it, but I finally did. There's this thing that happens, and I call it fear-based management. And what that looks like is this. I'll give you an example. So let's say that, let's say you're a business owner and you hire a new employee and he's really good, but the problem is you are terrified that he's going to leave. It's like the basis for every unhealthy relationship ever. So anyway, you're totally afraid this guy's going to leave. So what do? You shower him with attention, take him out to lunch. You may be a little bit overbearing and overprotective, and all this stuff. And what happens? Your other employees see all this going on. They feel slighted because they've been loyal to the company and they've, worked hard, and they're not bad, workers or anything like that. So they get angry and they leave because they feel unappreciated. And then what happens? Because these people left, and you, as a business owner, have not connected it in your head that the reason they left is because they felt unappreciated, you think there's just some conspiracy against you. So what you do is you hold on tighter to this this wonderful new shiny person who is just the best thing ever, and then he feels overwhelmed and he leaves. That is fear-based management. You imagine everything that could go wrong, and you try your hardest to prevent all of it. And in doing so, you end up creating the situations that you're afraid of. And this doesn't just apply, in business. This is like a life thing, too. I mean, just in my life in general, when I am living a fear-based life, and I am like trying to prevent bad things from happening, and my fears end up becoming like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and the things that I'm afraid of end up happening, and that sucks. But it is definitely something that happens in business all the time. The harder you try to prevent the things you're afraid of from happening, the more likely it is that those things are going to happen anyway. So, yeah, that's that. So how do you prevent that? It's difficult. It is absolutely difficult. I think what in my experience, outside of business, what I have done is try to get like a mental shift, and instead of looking for signs that things are going wrong, or really working my hardest to prevent these like bad things from happening, or these things that I'm afraid of from happening. Instead, what I try and do is look at the opportunities, and try, instead of focusing on avoiding my fears, I focus on capitalizing on opportunities. And when I'm able to do that, I can live a fuller life. And I have practiced that, at work. It's a little bit different because I'm not the business owner yet, but managers, go through this too. And I certainly have, where, I have acted out of fear, and it didn't seem like fear at the time, but like, I gotta be honest, I hate talking with my boss throughout the day. I think it's a big waste of time. 9 times out of 10, he's either giving me crap for something that's out of my control, or he's just wasting my time by making me listen to him breathe as he tries to process his next thought. He's not an idiot, that's not what I'm saying. He's actually super, super smart, but sometimes he gets caught up in his own emotions and he has trouble getting the words out. And I absolutely hate wasting time on the phone with him. So what I do is I do all this stuff to avoid that. I'm like afraid to talk to him on the phone because I just don't want to deal with it. And what ends up happening is, in my rush to avoid talking on the phone, I end up doing something that requires me to call him and talk on the phone. That's just a small example, but you see what it does. It just like ruins my day. And I did it to myself. I created my own self-fulfilling prophecy by running on fear. So everybody's a little bit different, and I don't know how you make those mental shifts. For me, it's it's a lot of meditation and writing, and kind of like trying to get another level of self-awareness. But whatever you have to do to get that shift from being a fear-based manager to being an opportunity-based manager, I highly suggest you do that. And then let me know how it goes, because I'm interested. So that's it for me for today, guys. This is a long episode. We're at like almost 10 minutes. This is good. But that's it for me. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Please keep an eye out for the next episode of my podcast. I'll start sharing it on social media on Monday. And until then, well, not until then, because I'll see you guys tomorrow at the next episode of the Daily Vlog. Still looking for a new name. I need some suggestions. Please help. Talk to you guys later. Bye.